Howdy doody. Welcome back to the ranch. My name is Mick. This is my new to me 2019
Ram 3500 DUALLY
with a 6.7 diesel in it. I picked this thing up for cheap. There's only one problem. It doesn't run. I spent a lot of money on this, cheap for what it is, but a lot of money. The more I think about it, the more I feel like I'm gonna get burned on this one, and I'm genuinely nervous. I'm sliding! What am I gonna do here? Not good. Extremely overfull. That is not a good sign. It smells like the worst transmission oil I have ever smelled in my life. What just happened? Okay, I'm definitely gonna get burned on this one. Man, I can't believe we just got all this snow. I just realized you probably can't see what's going on here. Keep coming back. That's good there.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Hauling one ram with another, huh? Sorry for all the snow.
I-80 is very ice.
Yeah. It took me a minute to realize that this man spoke very little English.
Huh?
Do you have any trouble? You make it all right. Huh. How'd you get in neutral? You don't know. Did you put it in neutral or did the other people?
It's forklift.
They forklifted on.
Forklift.
Okay. Let me see if my skid steer will start. Hang on one second. Now, those of you that are familiar with the channel are going to be asking yourselves, why? We're not going to get into them quite yet. I want to get this thing into the shop, but I have my reasons. As of right now, I just want to get into a shelter. It is freezing out here. Now this is going to be tough to do with one person, but I'm going to do my best without ruining the truck any more than it already is. Sliding. I'm sliding, but I'm pinned up against the garage. Shoot. Worse. Shoot. What am I gonna do here? Well, I think I'm gonna destroy my fender no matter how I do this. See how I'm... Ugh.
Fudge.
Only I didn't say fudge.
Just on one sheet of ice. There we go. Come on. Get in there. Man. Woo! We're in. Well, we made it inside. Make no mistake, that if I made you watch that entire thing, we'd be here for a long time. That took me 2 hours just because of the weather, because of snow. Let's see how our fender looks. This is where we were hitting. I got a little crease there, but nothing major at all. The main damage is back here, which I did not do. It came like that. And then Copart, in their infinite forklift abilities, ruined my bedside here. I don't know why. I sent the guy with a winch, paid extra for the winch, and they decided to fork it on the trailer. This is what we had to do in order to get it in. Clear a bunch of snow all the way down there. Everything from here over, sheet of ice. Just every which way I went, it would just steer the other way or not steer at all. I mean, I was pulling with this truck, pushing with the skid steer, and clearing a bunch of snow along the way. That was a battle, but we got it. It's in.
Oh my God, it's in.
For those of you that are familiar with the channel and are looking for an explanation as to why I bought this truck, here's the thing. I'm not sold on this thing yet. I'm not keeping it for sure. I came across this truck in a Copart auction. First time ever buying anything off of Copart, and I have to say, if you are not a dealer, everything works against you. Probably will not be doing it again. But I bought this truck for $14,000. Doesn't include all the fees and everything. We'll get into that later. Clean title, no accidents, 2 owners. I'm pretty sure this was just a over-the-road type of truck, just highway miles. It's a 2019 with a 6.7 dually 4x4 bighorn package. It's a nice truck. Every day of the week, if this thing is in running and driving condition, they're going for $35,000. I didn't mention it has 185,000 miles on it, which for a 5-year-old truck, 6-year-old now, 6-year-old truck, doing what it did, just spending its life on the highway, not terrible. Still a lot of life left in this thing. Why did I buy it? Well, the last trip that I took with the other Ram, my single axle 5.9 Cummins, I'm disenchanted with the thing. I love the truck. I love driving it without a load on it, but that automatic transmission, it doesn't stack up to the Cummins power. You know, it's like the engine is all there, but the transmission isn't. I had a heavy load on that thing, truck and trailer, about 16,000 pounds, and it really struggled. It did not do well at all. And with this setup, I'll be able to haul 16,000 pounds just like that, no problem at all. I could probably haul a little bit more, but that's probably gonna be my sweet spot there. If I can get this thing functional, feel it out for a little bit, then I'll look at keeping it and replacing the other one. I put a lot of work into the other truck. I'll probably be able to get a good amount of money back from that one. So that's why. So what do we know about this thing? Absolutely nothing. I looked up a title report on it, figured out that it didn't have any accidents or anything like that. It's a clean truck. It's just got that dent in the bumper, but virtually no damage to this truck at all, no accidents. The thing that I don't know is the state of anything and everything mechanical on this truck. I have no idea. I bought it as a non-running vehicle, so that's what I'm here to figure out. Is it not running because of a dead battery or a bad starter? I know the key turns on and it'll go into neutral and everything because that's how I got it off, but I still have yet to see it crank. And honestly, I feel better about the situation knowing the fact that it won't even crank over. That's making me lean more towards just a key to starter issue rather than a overall engine issue. I'm optimistic, however, I'm also very nervous because $14,000 for me is a lot of money for something that I don't know if it runs or not. I figured worst case scenario, even if I have to replace the whole engine and transmission, I'll still be money ahead on this. I do not want to do that, but as far as the dollars work out, it should work out given the worst case scenario. So let's pop the hood open and see what we're looking at. I don't even know if this thing's deleted. I have no idea. 6.7 Cummins. Get on in here, let's check this thing out. Also, if you know me, you know that I don't typically mess around with cars or trucks this new. Quite frankly, I hate messing around with cars and trucks this new. So I have mixed emotions about this whole situation. First things first, I'm the realist. The emissions controls are still intact, which is no surprise to me. Like I said, I think this was a working truck. I don't think there's any long haul company out there that's gonna go deleting their vehicle. I might actually be wrong there, so I'm interested to hear you guys weigh in if you know if it's typical for a hotshot trucker type business to delete their vehicles or if they typically leave them stock. I don't know. And risk getting caught. So if I keep it, we might allegedly think about deleting it. But I also would like to, if it runs, kind of tear it apart and see just how bad the back feeding of exhaust treated this engine after 200,000 miles. I'm sure it's not pretty. But all in all, everything is very clean, as to be expected. This was a Indiana truck. I was looking at the underside a little bit, and the rust hasn't hit this thing yet because it's new. But moment of truth, let's see if we have engine oil. I've never even looked at a 6.7. We have oil. It looks to be completely over full. I'm not seeing any sort of signs of coolant or anything like that, but I'm not gonna rule that out just yet because she is reading extremely over full. That is not a good sign right off the bat, but we're gonna ignore it for now. Transmission smells like the worst transmission oil I have ever smelled in my life. I also might be seeing some metal shavings. Not exactly sure. Also, not a great start. Batteries were replaced in November of 2024. That was literally 2 months ago. I guess we'll just say battery. This battery looks much older. How do you check the coolant on this thing? Ooh, we've got coolant. That's a good sign. It's to the right level. So that's telling me we're not intermingling fluids. Brake fluid's full. That's not really a concern, but worth noting. And from what I can see from the oil fill, it looks clean down there. You're joking. This whole block is for your positive, and it's like that on both sides. And your negative over here, it won't fit a regular battery. You have to have a special, like, L-shaped cutout. The joys of new vehicles. Everything's got to be complicated. Okay, so I got a charger. Whoa. I got a charger on one side and a jump pack on the other. However, I'm assuming that this thing's probably finicky with battery voltage, so I'm hoping, I don't know, I'm hoping that's going to be sufficient. Let's see what happens. What happens when I put it in park, press the button. All right. pushing the button. We have contact, but nothing happens. Honestly, that could be a battery issue. I really don't know. I can hear the glow plugs clicking on and off. I also see what looks to be a starter relay up here. Relay's working. Let's see if we're getting power to our starter switch itself. I'm gonna dig around and see where that, I don't even know where the starter is on this thing. All right, here we are under the truck. There's the starter. And this is really tight, so I'm doing my best to show you here, but I'm grounding out a little test light. This is my positive lead to the starter. My ground looks a little crusty here. That might be something that's causing an issue, but for now I just want to see if we're getting power. Yeah, I'm gonna run a wire up there on the other end, hook this to my test light. When I hit the button, see if she lights up. Okay, crude, but it's there. Hit the button. We got power. So I got power to the starter. She looked awfully crusty, so peel that off of there, take a wire wheel and clean her up a little bit, throw it back on, see what happens. All right, let's get this starter off and we will test it, make sure that it works, and then see what we can do from there. This bolt is going to be the death of me. Oh, I got it. Oh my God, I got it.
We did it, Joe.
For those of you watching at home, I had to heat up that bolt 3 separate times. And it finally popped loose with every ounce of oomph I had in me. That was miserable. Well, that was a fight that I don't believe was at all necessary. But here we are. Let's test this thing. Get some highly tangled jumper cords to your liking. Negative, positive, and let's flip it and reverse it. Get a good ground. This on our positive terminal, and then we are going to jump from our battery positive to our trigger wire, and hopefully nothing happens and we just have to replace a starter. That would be sweet. Here we go. All right, she works. That's good news and that's bad news. Good news is we don't have to buy a starter. Bad news is more troubleshooting. Great. I'm wondering if I can't... Let me think. Well, I'm not sure, but I tried testing again and the clamp was hitting in a way where it wasn't grounding well. And looking at this surface again, it was pretty dirty, so I cleaned this up. I'm going to clean up the mating surface on the engine block. I don't really see any body grounds nearby except for one, so I'll clean that one up on the frame and see if it works. Obviously it's functional and I'm getting power, so I believe it's a grounding issue. Well, while we're here, let's see if the engine is free. I can't see diddly. Turning? Oh yeah, she's turning. I don't know if you could see that, but that's the best I can do. Okay, we're all hooked up. Let's see if it'll turn over. Okay, I wasn't trying to do that. I'm also reading that I have 0 fuel. I don't know if I even have diesel. It's saying that I'm empty. I didn't even look, because well, hey, it turns over. But it's saying I'm completely out of fuel. I wonder what happens if I throw a scanner on this, because it's also saying that I have a check engine light. Okay, let's check some codes. Okay, of the codes that I am finding, the majority are low voltage-esque. The engine control module is a clear pass, that's good news. Transmission control module doesn't have any communication to it. That's concerning, but also a lot of them, like I said, are like low voltage. I think for starters, I need to get a new pair of batteries in here. I've been charging that passenger side battery this whole time, and it hasn't gotten to 100% yet. So I think the battery quality is super, super low. There's a Jiffy Lube tag here that says 185,000 miles, next service 11/15/23. So it hasn't been serviced in an awfully long time, but there also has not been many miles put on it. The tag here through Copart says that the loss type is minor dents and scratches. It kind of seems like maybe this thing went swimming in a ditch or something, because my passenger side mirror is busted up, and then the undercarriage, there's some dirt down there in like the suspension components. So nothing crazy, but there is something going on there. The other codes that I'm getting are related to the passenger door control module. There's 5 faults there. So I think that there's something happened over there, which again, I'm gonna say is good news, because my biggest concern is that this thing is going to start and drive. And if my main point of damage is just a little bit of damage on the door on the passenger side, I'm totally fine with that. So I'm gonna pack it in, but steps for tomorrow, new set of batteries, and fill this thing up with diesel. Not sure why this is completely empty. I mean, it is like completely empty, so not sure what happened there. I'm gonna fill up the tank a little bit, check for leaks, and we'll go from there. I will say, big win today. At least we got it turning over. So 2 thumbs up there, steps in the right direction. See you tomorrow. You're joking. I can hear it hitting the bottom of the tank. This thing is bone dry. Everything's got to be a problem. Every step of the way, it's gonna fight me. The other problem with this hose, it's dry rotted, so it's not long for the world as it is, but I'd like to get one of those swivel heads too, 'cause this thing kinks up really easy. It's a pain, but I don't know, like a 20-foot hose or something would be sweet. Let's see where that puts us for now. Batteries, just one big sheet of ice out there. Okay. I said it once, I will say it a million times till the day I die. If you are a car person or equipment person, go to Costco, get a membership. The deals on the interstate batteries will pay for the membership after 1 battery. This obviously is not sponsored, but these are $200 batteries a piece. Every day of the week, no questions asked. $20 core charge, so after the core, $120 a piece. I saved $160 between these 2 batteries, and these are interstate good batteries. What just happened? Anyway, let's throw these things in the truck and see with some fuel in it if we could prime the system, and fingers crossed that it'll start for us. I have to say, what a pain this battery box, especially on the passenger side, is to get a battery into. I had to take my air cleaner boot off. I mean, and it still barely fits in there. Which, by the way, I look down in here and my air filter looks very clean, which is very surprising given the state of all the other maintenance items that I've been looking at. Woo! Popped right on into place. Jump on over to the other side with my step stool. Step stool. Mom and Dad aren't going to be home for hours. Sorry. I'm interested to see how this thing kicks on with fresh batteries in it. I still can't believe the cost of what I'm getting these for. $200 batteries. I wish I knew about Costco's battery deals sooner, because, I mean, the amount of EverStart Walmart batteries that I've purchased in my life, only to be disappointed. I'll tell you what, this battery style, how it's like dipped in and all that, super annoying. And there's like 15 positive and negative connections on these batteries. It's crazy. But that's what you get for having a truck with a bunch of electronics and such. Okay, let's flip our key on to our run position, see if our fuel pump kicks on. Which it does. I hear it. I did not hear it before, so that's worth noting. Also worth noting, I have a half a tank of fuel, and I checked and I don't have any leaks going on as of yet. But I read on the lines that these are self-priming. You just have to let the pump run through its cycle 4, 5, 6 times. So I'm gonna let it do that, and then we'll try and turn it over. Okay, should be primed. Foot on the brake. Cross your fingers. Starter stuck. Okay. It tried starting, but the starter was stuck wide open, so I need to be prepared for that. Okay, I have my grounds loosened. Kind of got you pushed a little bit further back if the starter sticks again, and I gotta run up and disconnect the batteries. That's what I'm gonna do. Let's try this again. We're getting better. I don't know what noise that is. I don't like it though. But I'm assuming we're pushing out air bubbles in the fuel system, which is why it's trying to run but not yet. We're just gonna keep cranking. I hope that's the right thing to do. In a normal diesel engine, you know, a mechanical one, that's what you do, but I don't know anything about these, you know, electronic jobbies. So, I'll try again. It's running. It's running. It's running. Woo! I have oil pressure. Everything sounds okay. Oh boy. We're running. We're running good too. We're not out of the weeds yet. Smells like death. Not in a bad way, it's just not as exciting, you know. I'm gonna pop open the garage door here. I'll be honest, I really don't feel like I have brakes, but I'm gonna put it in reverse anyway. Hopefully I don't rip my door off. You know, I'm up on blocks too. I don't think that shifted. Ah. Well, the heated seat works. My transmission does not. All right, well, we've got so much good news. The truck runs. That's good news. The heated seat and heated steering wheel also work, which is great news. The bad news is I don't have a transmission. Not the end of the world. I will take that over many other things. I have a feeling that the transmission blew up at some point in time. As far as the codes go, also that clicking noise after you shut it down is the EGR, so that's fine, normal. I've got a whole slew of codes here. Most of them are transmission related. Gear ratio error in reverse, engine coolant low, that's fine. More stuff, because I haven't cleared this yet on low voltage and stuff. Transmission high temperature operation activated. That's not good. Gear 1, shift incorrect ratio. Gear 2, shift incorrect ratio. Gear 3, Gear 4, Gear 5. Transmission fluid pressure sensor switch. 1 circuit performance. 2C hydraulic pressure test. Transmission fluid pressure low. Transmission fluid pressure sensor switch C circuit. Range performance on the transmission fluid pressure sensor switch. Same thing. Hydraulic pressure sensor circuit low. Loss of hydraulic pump prime. And that is it. So my codes are all related to the transmission, and all of them, to me, point to a failure. Maybe the pump failed and it overheated and blew up. Judging by the dipstick that we were looking at earlier and kind of how grainy it was, that's what I'm going to go with. But let's do some troubleshooting. I say we drop the pan and look at the fluid, see how bad it is. If it's just completely fried and we see a bunch of metal in there, then we know we need to either rebuild it or replace it. I already looked online as far as a pre-owned transmission. You can get them for somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,000. If I rebuild it, I don't know how much that would cost, but we would have a fresh transmission, maybe $5,000 or $6,000, I don't know. All in all, if I get away with putting this thing back on the road for another $5,000, I will be happy. It'll still be much cheaper than just buying a good pre-owned condition truck like this one. So I'm optimistic. Do I want to spend another $3,000, $5,000 and all the work involved in putting in the transmission? No, but that's what life is about. When you roll the dice, you got to deal with what you got. As far as how bad this could have been, I'm not terribly unhappy, you know? It starts, which is super cool. Cummins. Trying to look at the bright side, you know. Let's take a look at that dipstick again. Okay. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. Trying my best to show all the particles. Now that could be dirt, but I'm thinking it's more so metal. Let's jump below this thing and drain the fluid. Maybe I can find a return line like I did on the other Cummins. Start it up, put it in neutral and see if it pumps. But yeah, that is just so burnt. I'm thinking this thing is just fried. Okay, so here's the earth. In order to drain this transmission, there's no plug on it. Just like the last transmission I was working on, I drain it from the return line from the cooler, which I believe being the lower line that this would be at here. I could hook a hose on from up top, but I think I'm just gonna let it fly from this bolt here. I don't really know what this is. Looks like a distribution block of some sort or something, but I don't know. But I'm just gonna loosen this up and we'll turn the truck on and put it in neutral. We'll let it drain until it starts trickling and then stop the truck. If I can get this line out of here. Whoop. Good Lord. Gotta get this line out. Ugh. There we go. Okay, now we can start the truck up. and let this drain. All right, we're gonna start this up. You guys are gonna be my eyes over there. Hopefully we don't make a mess. Yeah, it looks like we're just gonna drop the pan full of oil. Anyway, that's how you would drain the pan if your transmission shifted. Mine does not. So, I don't know if my GoPro was running when I was trying to drain this, but it was just, if it wasn't, it was just sputtering out, wasn't flowing at all, which this should have a steady flow. My theory is the whatever pumps this system failed, which I believe I got a code that was kind of alluding to that. My theory is the pump failed, transmission overheated, burned up all the oil, and blew up the transmission. That's the theory at this point. Doesn't much matter, but I would also like to know. So, as of right now, we're just gonna drain the pan. There are some different size bolts down here. That's interesting. But we're gonna take a look at what this fluid looks like and how bad it really is. My guess is probably gonna be pretty freaking bad.
What are we?
What are we? Curious about the different size bolts. Looks like we got a couple zip ties shoved up there, maybe acting as threads. Here's where we get a little western. Here we go. I was so close to catching it all. Wow, that is the most burnt oil I have ever smelled in my life. Man, I was so close to catching it all. Oh no, then we'll be digging for that later. Oh, our filter's off. Problem number one. Okay, I'll be honest, surprisingly clean. Oh, but in the pan it tells a different story. Definitely have, you know, fair share a bit of metal shavings, but no like gears that blew up or anything, at least from what I can see yet. Obviously, take a look at this oil and she is black. No remnants of the color red at all. This filter was laying in the bottom of the pan when I dropped it. I'm going to get the rest of the oil out of this. The smell is just terrible. Worse than old gear oil, if you can believe that. It smells like burnt clutch. I feel like all this material that's in here and what I'm smelling, I feel like it's like the clutch gave out. All this material that I'm feeling, just, it's like gritty. It's like it's clutch material, to be honest. And I know nothing about automatic transmissions. Can you replace a clutch in an automatic transmission? Maybe I'm sure I sound stupid right now, but I do not know nothing. I know nothing about automatic transmissions. Obviously, in a manual, you push your clutch in and the clutch plate separates from the flywheel, and that's how you engage your gears, but I don't know how the automatic transmission works. So can you, like in a manual, you could drop the transmission, pull the clutch off, and replace it with a new one. Can you do that with an automatic transmission? But regardless, I think what I'm going to do, rather than just like jumping to buying a new transmission, I'm gonna call around to a couple shops and see what they have to say about this. I'm gonna save the oil if they want to see the oil. I'm not gonna clean the pan up, I'm gonna put it in just like this, see what they have to say about it. If it's rebuildable for cheaper than it would be to buy a new one, then I'll probably just have them do that. My concern with myself is, yes, I'm confident in my ability of buying a transmission and swapping it out. What I don't know is programming. I'm sure that's a thing, computer stuff. This is exactly why I don't mess around with vehicles this new, is because all the programming and computers and all that crap, I don't have the tools or the know-how to deal with that at all. So I'm gonna throw this back up and we're gonna see what the shop has to say.
I want you to know.
Look at that. She's home, and boy, does she look purty. Set you up here without dropping you. Check it out. We got it home. All fixed up, transmission drives. I even got a license plate on it as of today, which is, you know, I gave it a bath and now it's already salty again. Want to guess what they gave me for my plate number? Aww. Yep. That's right. You really can't make this stuff up. Can't decide if I want to lose it and go get another one, or if I should just rock it and, you know, have it be the penis truck. As if I needed another thing that was going to make someone think that I'm compensating for something. Just my luck. So, we got the truck back. Let's talk about what happened. I took this into the transmission shop. I called all around the Cleveland area, got quotes on a rebuild, working back about a month now, but for you it was just about a minute ago. My transmission was completely fried, just absolutely burnt up to a crisp. I got a bunch of quotes on just a standard rebuild, but I had a feeling with how burnt that fluid was and with the pump not working and all that, I figured that it was going to be more than just a rebuild. And spoiler alert, it was just a little bit more than a standard rebuild, but it was rebuildable. Let's talk about what they did and what it cost me. So like I said, I called around to a bunch of different places, got quotes on a standard rebuild just to have like an even playing field on what, you know, ballpark cost would be. And I landed on a place called Cleveland Transmissions, and I will say right now, and I'll say it again, if you are in the greater Cleveland area and you need a transmission rebuild, go to Cleveland Transmissions. Affordable, small shop, so you only got, you know, a few guys there, which is probably why they're affordable. Knowledgeable, polite. I paid cash and I paid up front, so I'm sure that helped, but these guys were awesome. So can't recommend them enough. Cleveland Transmissions in Columbia Station. I'll leave their phone number up here so you can give them a call if you need transmission rebuilds or work or whatever. But yeah, class act. So anyway, They were the cheapest, and that's what I wanted. So that's where I went. They quoted me $3,500 for a rebuild on the 68 RFE, which was well below anybody else. I think the next cheapest option was $4,200, but the majority of people were $5,500, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 just for a regular rebuild, which is just ridiculous. I mean, there's no way any transmission should cost that much just for a regular old rebuild. So I asked if I could drop it myself and just bring it in, and they said that I could do that. However, install with their warranty and everything, they did give me a 2-year, 24,000 mile warranty on it. And if I installed the transmission on my own, it would void that warranty. It would make it cheaper labor-wise, but then I wouldn't get the warranty. So, and I totally get that. If they're gonna put a warranty on it, they wanna know how it's installed. Totally understandable. So I just brought them the truck in. I trailered it in, gave it to them whole, right from where we left off in the video. Took them a couple weeks to do it, but they did run into a little snafu. They dropped it, started taking it apart, called me and said, hey, this thing is so burnt, there's no way we can put our name on it by putting it together as it is. He explained that he could put it together, but it was just so burnt up and parts were literally welded together from all of the heat. I'll attach some pictures. I couldn't bring anything home to show you because he had to send it back in for, core returns. So it was another $1,200 in parts. He didn't charge me any more in labor because it didn't change the labor, but it was another $1,200 on top of the $3,500. So the whole thing cost me $4,700. What did that get me? Well, essentially what he did was replaced all the internals to build it, give me a built transmission, all from RevMax. So I paid $1,200 in parts. I'll just take a picture of this. So if you're a transmission guru and want to take a peek at it, you can. The upgraded parts, he showed me all the receipts for those. It totaled to about $1,700 in parts, but he already quoted me the $1,200, so he honored that price. Another big check mark to me, no questions asked. He just told me, here's what you got and here's what it ended up being. So I'm assuming he was making enough on labor to cover that. I appreciate that. So I will say, of course I'm bummed that it ended up costing me another $1,200. However, the money was well spent because the extra money was just in upgraded parts. It's not like I was just paying for parts that were fried and it was just back to stock. What I got out of that extra $1,200 was, beefier parts. So I got a built transmission, something that's better off for what I'm using it for, which is, heavy towing. I'm happy with it. I'm happy that I spent the extra money and actually got value out of the extra money there. If I get away with putting this thing back on the road for another $5,000, I will be happy. Ride's nice and smooth. Heated steering wheel, heated seats. Just found out it has an automatic start. So, I am rolling in luxury for me. I'm very impressed, very happy with it. Where does that $4,700 leave me with the truck in its entirety? Well, like I said, I spent about $14,000 on the auction after taxes and fees and everything. A little over 16 grand plus the $4,700. I'm somewhere in the neighborhood of 21,000. Did I pay cash for it? No, I took out a loan. That is how I was able to afford it. I'm hoping that I can, if I'm keeping this one, which I'm leaning more towards keeping it, I'm hoping I can sell the other one to put down on my loan for this one and bring it down to a reasonable loan that I can pay off pretty quickly. But I would like to know what you guys think. Is it worth it? Should I keep this thing and sell the other truck, or should I sell this one, make a profit? Similar trucks, exact builds with similar mileage, somewhere in the 170 to 190,000 range, or listed for at a fair deal, somewhere around 30 grand, nothing less than 30 grand. 30 to 34,000. Right now I'm 21-ish into it. I think I made out pretty well. Personally, what I am getting out of that investment is a truck that's better equipped for what I want to use it for than my other truck. You know, being a 3500, dually, heavier springs, now a tow-ready transmission, something that's going to be a lot more reliable than the 48RE, and just a newer truck, a lot less rust. Things aren't going to be breaking as often on this, I hope. So I think I'm going to get my money's worth out of this thing. That's just my opinion. Please let me know what your thoughts are. I'm definitely going to be interested to see, you know, what you guys think about this thing. Like I said, I did plate it already, so I am planning on driving it in the short term and keeping it for a little bit, seeing, you know, feeling it out, seeing what I think about it. I think I'm going to be impressed, quite frankly. I think I'm going to fall in love with this thing and have a hard time selling it if you guys are telling me to sell it. I really like it, so I'm going to drive it around for a bit, you know, bare minimum, keep it for like, I don't know, 6 months or something and see how I feel. I'm better off selling my other truck in the spring anyway, spring, summer. It's always better selling the truck in warm weather because things aren't breaking in front of the buyer and everything. Can't remember if I've had a truck that's broken in front of the buyer in the winter time. Multiple times. Anyway, that's that. I am super happy with this thing. I'm excited to put it to use and see how it does, especially with that built transmission. I think that's going to impress me quite a bit. With that said, we've got some kinks to work out with this thing. Definitely got to take it through a full service. I think this thing was pretty well abused in its ownership, like we covered. It was just a work truck, and I think it was a disposable item, which is how I think I got it. My guess, they blew up the transmission, drove it as far as they could go until the thing totally gave out, which is probably why all those parts are totally welded together from all the heat. And then from there, they probably just threw it at a Copart auction saying, you know, we can't take time to fix it or sit on it, just auction it off, buy a new one, and keep working. I'm assuming that's what happened. Their loss is my gain at this point. I also may have already purchased some interior upgrades for it. I'm not going to say too much at this point, but we have a lot coming up on this thing. Whether we keep it or sell it, I'm going to be working on it a little bit before I do either. So with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel. I'm hoping it's videos like this that are going to get me chugging along here. This is a pretty interesting project that I'm hoping I'm going to get some good viewership on. So if you want to stick around, please subscribe to the channel. Do me that favor. That's all I ask for in return for doing these videos at this point, obviously, is just to get a solid viewership and, you know, some people out there that I can chat back and forth with and get a good relationship going with. So I can keep bringing you guys good content and you can keep watching. So with that, obviously we got a lot more coming up on the channel, so you stick around. I'll keep making them, you keep watching. You could follow me on the Instagram, the Facebook, the TikTokies. With that, I will see you all in the next one, but always remember, don't be afraid to grab that wrench and get after it yourself. We'll see you next time.